Well, hello, good day, and welcome to the Certified Jordan channel. Now, today on this channel, we have a very well-known friend back in the shop, unfortunately. So, we have a good old friend, the Daytona 675 from a rebirth project, visiting us in the shop here, and it's an unfortunate story. The bike was handed back to its owner. Now, as I explained before, this is the same owner as the KTM Duke 390. Unfortunately, the KTM Duke 390 is also back in the shop, also with an unfortunate situation. So, with the Duke 390, no, let me start from the start. The KTM Duke 390 was finished with a project, episodes and things. It went back to its owner. Then this bike came in. We started working on this. Whilst we were working on the Triumph, he had the KTM to do whatever he needs to do with, and he used it quite extensively and really loved the motorcycle. Then he had a clutch cable snap on him, unfortunately, and on the same day he had a truck in front of him slinging up a rock. The rock went straight through the radiator, causing all the coolant to leak out. Unfortunately, he didn't realize it, but he did luckily monitor on the gauges, the heat gauge, and he saw the bike is becoming hot. He pulled over. I took my motorcycle trailer and picked him up. So that needs to get a new radiator. We are first going to try and send the radiator in for repairs and see how that works. But we've already had a new clutch cable made for it. We also have a new clutch cable for this one, as this one's clutch cable also snapped right here at the bottom. And this bike also overheated, but with a different scenario. This bike has got an internal water pump issue. The water pump is located more or less inside here, behind this cover, inside of the oil pan. So we will have to strip all of this off to get to the water pump, because the water pump needs to be either repaired if we can, or replaced. We had the new clutch cable made, and then I wanted to show you this. Here's a Triumph's radiator. I got this piece of aluminium mesh. This is the exact same stuff that I used inside here, inside of the plastics, to do my repairs with. So I'm going to make a radiator guard for this motorcycle, more or less something like that. On this channel, you'll see me do that. I'm going to make a guard just so that the same unfortunate situation doesn't happen to this Triumph. So for now, you see the block and tackle is ready. So there's a Duke. No radiator, also here for repairs. So this one is ready to be hoisted up on the block and tackle, so that we can get into that oil pan. As far as I understand from the workshop manual, there is going to be a gear running off the clutch, the rear clutch basket inside here. So as far as I understand, I'm going to try not to do it, but if the clutch basket needs to come off, then there's a tensioner and a guide, because the water pump is chain driven, but the water pump has got two jobs. It's a water pump and an oil pump. So it's a combined pump. It runs, it's chain driven, and it's more or less located here. So we have these water lines going in from this side, and we have water lines going in on the other side of the engine, and it's dripping out from the hole at the bottom of the oil pan, which is directly connected to the water pump. So let's see how far we can get with this job today. And also we are going to make a radiator guard. This will definitely be more than one episode because we won't have the parts to fix this today, as it's Saturday. I'm not sure what the date is. I think it's the 12th of December or January, or the 11th of January, Saturday. It's already quite late. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but we need to get this oil pan off so that we can inspect. Is the pump openable? Can we dissect it so that we can replace the seals and whatever you have inside there? If not, unfortunately, you will have to get that replaced. The sump has been removed, and I'm looking into the sump and I can really not see any signs of debris or pieces of metal or metallic oil or anything in here that is alarming me, which is a very good sign. Really like what I'm seeing there. Let's see what we can see. Let's take this dipstick out. Before we damage this. And let's see if we can see what's going on inside here. This is a gasket which is actually put in here to such a way that you can't really remove it. But I want to just see if I can get this out of the way without breaking this gasket, and it looks like I can. This is the oil pickup tube that I have to remove. I needed to actually say to you that the oil was already drained, and the coolant was also already drained. I want to keep these bolts separate. There should be O-rings on this, on these pickup tubes. There comes some more oil. And here's a gasket. Let's put this pickup tube somewhere here where it can leak oil. It's all out. All right. So what can we see here? Maybe let me remove my cap. Okay, this black piece you see here is the oil pickup tube. Here's the little thing. I'm sure you can see this little rod here. This is where it's leaking the water from through the sump. I can see some things here holding this all together, but I think what I'm gonna do I think I'm going to put this pan right below all of this and just give it an hour or two to drip its final drips, because ultimately this motorcycle will have to come off off the block and tackle. A block and tackle is not something designed, it's like a jack. It's not designed to keep weight on it. It's designed to lift something into the air and then you need to support it. But what I can see is the water pump is situated right here, not in the front as I thought. It's sitting right in at the back here, and it's driven off a chain. In fact, I can remove the chain guard from the bottom quickly. There's a one bolt, these are quite long. Here's the other bolt. And here's the oil, the chain guard. We also put this somewhere, it's oily. Don't worry about that, I'll fish it out there. This is also oily. I can see the chain. Yeah, I'm actually quite sure I will not be able to remove this sprocket, if I can call it that, at the bottom. You know what I'm going to do? I'll take a picture of this with my phone and then I'll insert it into the video so you can see what I'm faced with. I'm looking up into the pistons from the bottom, and let me tell you, I like what I see. I really do. I like what I see. This engine is expertly clean inside. It is really looking good. The pistons, they're superbly clean. This motor is in a good condition, and you know, this motorcycle has been around the block, eh? It's got, it's make no difference, 60,000 Ks on it, and to me it's looking good. So this one tube is running to the front, then it's running up here. Here's a tube that comes from the other side of the engine. It goes into the side. There should be O-rings there as well, so I'm going to have to remove that as well. And then the front piece. This one I think goes straight through and joins here with the O-ring as well. So we'll get an O-ring set or an O-ring kit. Let me just quickly get my long nose here, because here's a long dowel that we need to remove. And this plier does not want to grab that dowel. Let me see if I can grab this dowel here. Yes, here it comes. It's out. Happy that came out quite easily. Okay, so let's give this its time to drip its final drips, and then we'll take it from there. And with that then, viewers, we have the water and oil combination pump right here. So this is the water in, water out. You can see there's a load of O-rings and things here that we're going to have to replace. But the problem, I reckon, is lying inside here. So we'll open this up, because this is the tube. This tube, it sits like this, and this protrudes out of the oil pan, and this is where all the dripping took place. This is the oil section of the pump, where the oil pump takes place. So I'm going to open this section here and see if I can see what the problem is inside of this thing. Unfortunately, that ding doesn't look very good to me. You can see there has been some damage caused there. I don't know how that happened. Hopefully that is not a crack. We'll see. I'm sure this water pump is going to be quite tightly sealed. There's dowels in it as well, because I wanted to see if I can just turn this, but there's dowels. So if I try to do that, I'm going to break the casing. So instead of trying that, I'm rather just going to try and put this in my vise without causing any damage to any section or portion of the pump. Sorry, you can't see this at the moment. Just want to see. Yeah, that's already loose. All right, let's try to get this thing apart in front of the camera. Okay, here she comes. It's already apart. Guys, I'm going to do something now that I want you to never do. I'm not going to put any pressure on it whatsoever. Just lightly trying just to pry it off this dowel, because this dowel is where it's hanging onto. But this screwdriver of mine is too blunt to get in there, and I specifically made it that blunt for brake repairs. This is the dowel where it's hanging onto. There's an O-ring that's broken that just fell out somewhere. There you go, it's off. Okay, what's this we have here? I think the seal behind here is shot. You can see it goes all the way through. If I turn this, it turns the whole shaft. This is not an Allen key or anything, it's just like a rounded off nut. So it's also, you can't hear this, but it's like it's catching. It's not smooth. Okay guys, well I think what I'm going to do, there it's again, it's stiff. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, the seal will also have to be replaced. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera and set it up on my vise Look at this old O-ring that was here, somewhere in here. It's completely flattened. This will definitely not do its job. I'm going to set up the camera on my bench. Then we'll take this further on the bench. I think that's going to be the best. Just also, I'm looking at this damage. Sorry, let me just drop my screwdriver that's constantly in front of the camera. I'm looking at this damage right over here. This section is very thick. There's absolutely nothing, the damage is this side. There's absolutely nothing coming through to the inside, so I'm not going to worry too much around that. There you can see the damage. It's not going to cause any problem with the pumping of this pump, so the pump will still pump. Alright, I think we also need to open here, because I need to, by hook or by crook, be able to lock this little shaft so that I can see the inner workings of this thing and how and where's the seal that I need to replace, because I can't see a seal behind here. I see a spring and I see a bearing, so I'm reckoning the seal needs to be this side, just before this drain tube. I reckon the seal is going to sit right here in this cavity behind the bearing. But let's go to the bench and then we'll take it further. We have the Triumph Daytona 675 water and oil combination pump here on the bench, and unfortunately I do not have good news. So this is the impeller on the water side. This is the water side of the pump, and it's got this springy type thing that goes in there. There must be a seal in there and then another seal on the top here. This is then crimped onto this section right there as the shaft goes through there. It's crimped on this collar you see right there, and this section you have right there. So this thing came apart, causing a leak. And also behind this pressed in collar thing, there's another seal, and I believe that seal is also dead. So here's the verdict. Unfortunately, that is not repairable. If you look at this is one of the seals. This is the way it came out. It is, just listen to this. It's rock hard. Here's one of the other seals. It sounds like a piece of metal. It's rock hard. So here's what we're gonna do, guys. It has been absolutely pouring with rain. Absolutely pouring with rain the last couple of days. This is not the type of weather we are used to in South Africa. I hope you can still hear me above the noise of the rain. But here's what we're gonna do. You see that plastic bag lying there? All the bolts, everything was washed. They're all in there. I also washed the sump. I am now going to put the sump back onto the motorcycle, and then I'm gonna get working on the radiator right over there to make that guard. You'll be joining me for that. But then I'm going to move the motorcycle into storage, because we are in Africa and we need to order something from the UK. So over the last couple of years, that problem of ordering things from abroad in Africa has become dramatically better. If I can give you an example, 10 years ago, if I was working on something like the KDXT 50 and I need a part from eBay in America, I'll order the part and I'll wait maybe 3.5 months for that part to get in South Africa. These days, you can order something in 3 to 4 days. So it's picked up. It's world class. Our import and transport and so forth and shipping and so forth. It's world class. There's no problem with that. The problem we have is we work in South African rand, which does not have a lot of value. You typically pay for a euro. At the moment, I think it's 21 rand for 1 euro. And the British pound is something like 24 to 25 rand per pound. So for us to order a part from Great Britain at that price, this is going to cost 20,000 rand if I work out British pound to rand. Now 20,000 rand is enough to pay my house, it's enough to buy my groceries for the month, and almost enough to actually pay my municipal bill, water and lights, property taxes and so forth. So 20,000 rand is almost a salary. It's basically a salary of a person. So it's expensive to buy things from abroad. Then we are not even talking about import duties and all of that crap that's also loaded onto that. So unfortunately, this bike is definitely going to stand a while. Hopefully we can get a second-hand pumps locally. There's quite a lot of these bikes in South Africa. You see one every day. So hopefully there's a second-hand one somewhere. And this engine is also used in the street triple. I'm saying street triple, which is a 675. The speed triple is a 1050 and the bigger ones. So there's quite a lot of them available in South Africa. Hopefully we can find a good used part, but I'll keep you up to speed. But for now, let's move over. You see guys, this is now the problem. I want to get that radiator done. But before I make I can make the shield, all right, that I can do. But I want to paint the radiator. I'm going to paint it with a rattle can, not with a compressor. But I want to paint it and make it nice and fresh before I put the new guard on. And now with this rain, I need to wash that radiator before I paint it. And with this, it's impossible to get anything dry. What to do, you'll see.
Guys, I have taken this piece of aluminium checker plate, I guess you can call it, or checkered mesh, and I've cut it to size to nicely fit in here. But now we have brackets on the left and the right sides here, which I need to cut these pieces out. So I'm gonna see if I can just lightly turn this checkered mesh to the other side. These metal shears of mine has seen better days. I think most probably it was not the best idea to cut 2mm plate with this. Okay, let me see if I can get this off here. Then we have the two brackets on this side that I need to cut out. This is actually quite a tough job. Okay, and then the last one this side. I want to see if I can get to the back of these shears and use the back side of the blade. not really helping much, but anyway, it is off. So now what we have, this is the top side, but what we have now is we have these little things that is not nice and flat anymore. So I'm just going to put them on my vise and just hit them lightly with a hammer, just to flatten them out nicely. All right, that's enough. Then we can bring our, let me just see what you can see. Oh, that's good. Okay. Then we can bring our new radiator guard back into place and bend it according to the radiator, and then it's going to sit nice into place there. What I'll do is I'll use small pieces of binding wire just to take it through. You can see on the back side of this radiator, let me show you here. Here on the very top, there's quite large openings. So I'll just take one of these, maybe on 3 places, and just put a small piece of binding wire through it and just make sure that it is secure. But I'm going to bend it over now, as you'll see. All right, so this is all in place. I'm happy with that. Now, on this side of the radiator, guys, we have a bit of a lip. You see this lip? So I want to see if I can get this section bent over and pinched onto that lip. So maybe start off with, let's do the small section on this side, because I reckon that's going to be the easiest piece to do, as it's the smallest. Now, this is going to be a noisy job, so please excuse the noise over the microphone. You just see, yeah, my microphone is on. Guys, that's exactly what I wanted to have. Look at that piece there. If I turn it this way, you can see it's going over that lip, going over the lip, and it's going to hold that thing into place very nicely and securely. So let me put you on a time lapse, because otherwise I'm going to drive you up the wall with the noise. I'm going to put you on a time lapse. I'm going to quickly do the other sides, and then we'll take it from there. Okay guys, so what do we have? We have a radiator, obviously, and you can see it came out around that lip very nicely. I'm just going to quickly take my chisel and just make sure that all the edges are in nicely. Guys, if you work on something like a radiator, be extremely gentle. This radiator is soft. It's very soft aluminium. You don't want to go on here and hammer on this thing. Very gentle. I'm just taking my chisel. You can see, even with a rubber mallet, I am not going to town with this thing. I am purely just making sure that this lip is nicely seated. Okay. Let me get this done, then I'll catch up with you just now. With that then, the radiator guard is completely installed. I think it came out very nicely. So what I've done is I've already wiped this entire radiator off with lacquer thinners. I'm not going to be doing any sanding on this radiator. I'm just wiping it off with lacquer thinners. My hands were also prepped with lacquer thinners. So what I want to attempt, I've got this triple decal. I want to see if we put it there and we paint this whole thing black, and I then remove the backing of this sticker, if it's going to actually be painted onto this checkered plate. If not, then I'll just remove it and just paint the whole thing black. And there, this thing just separated on me. That's not fun. Let's see if this is going to work. So I need to now all right, let's do it here in the middle somewhere. Now I'm gonna put it a bit lower. I think if it's too high you won't be able to see it anyway, so then it's pointless for me doing this. So let's quickly measure here. I've got 80, 85 and 85. Now that's in the middle, and I'm just going to get it straight. But it's not going to stick on here, guys. Unfortunately, it's not sticking. So, all right. Let's forget about that idea. I'm going to quickly go and paint this radiator black, and then we'll see how it came out. All right, guys. As you know, we made this protector for the radiator. It's all done. The whole thing was painted. Let me show you this up close. Wanted to show you the way that I have pinched this grill over the top of the radiator. So this radiator guard is going nowhere. It's looking very nice, neat. I'm very happy with the way it came out. And no rock or stone is going to penetrate this thing and damage this one. Just some feedback on the little KTM Duke 390. It's finished. We had the radiator repaired, which was actually not that pricey. I was actually quite surprised. That was repaired. We fitted a new clutch cable and it went back to its owner. So for this bike, the Triumph 675 Daytona, this is now done. I'm waiting on the water pump. It should be here tomorrow. I'm also still waiting for the new rear taillight. Half the taillight is blown. I didn't tell you about that. So we're going to replace the taillight with a new one. And then also we are waiting for what on that bike? Oh, the starter. Remember I told you the starter needs to be replaced or fixed. So that was sent in. So we're waiting for that. Then we will get this process finalized. But yeah, I'm happy with the radiator. It came out nice and it's gonna look good on the bike as well, because you saw the radiator and you saw that, you know, it's in need of a paint and things. So it was starting to look a bit, especially after the whole bike was repainted. That thing stood out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to wait for the other parts to come, and then we're going to continue with the repair process for that one. But I'll keep you in the loop. Guys, I'm going to end this episode here. We've done quite a lot. It's been already quite a long video, so I'm going to end the video here. What we'll do is we'll get the parts that I'm still waiting for. Once we've got the parts, we'll go ahead put the radiator back in, and get the water pump and things done, and the starter and so forth. And that will be then in the second episode of this Triumph 675 Daytona repair video. Thanks so much for watching. Until I catch you in the next one. Cheers.